Hello, and welcome to part 2 of the series, where I'm trying to determine exactly what a pumpkin beer is and what commercial breweries are selling as pumpkin beers. As discussed in the first video, a pumpkin beer can be any base beer and is typically brewed with actual pumpkin or pumpkin puree and then spiced with things like cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and any other spices that are associated with pumpkin pie. And from the first video, what I discovered is that a classic pumpkin beer is amber to orange in color, has a subtle sweetness, some caramel, malty notes, and finally, the spices should be predominant both on the aroma and in the taste. But unfortunately, a lot of breweries are just trying to ride the pumpkin hype wave. The base beer often falls short, and the spice character is sometimes non-existent. So in this video, I'm continuing the quest to try to find more alternative takes on what a pumpkin beer style is, and find a great pumpkin beer in the end. So with all that said, let's get into the first beer. So I'm continuing to try to figure out what exactly is a pumpkin beer. We have something a little bit different. So now we have the Jolly Pumpkin Arsenal. This is La Parcella, limited series. It was wild pumpkin ale. Ale brewed with pumpkin and spices. Oak aged in can condition. It's 4.4%. So right after color, we get the nice like orange hue. It's pretty hazy, which is probably from some of the yeast that's still in suspension from being, conditioned. So, we get it like right off the top. Definitely tell it's like a wild ale. It's got that like farmhousey aroma, the oak. Yeah, like breadiness that you normally get. Ooh. I don't know how to, it's very light, but it's got that kick of like sourness, oak aged beer right up front. Yeah, it's got that like nice tartness, light body to bring it back. I don't really taste any like the spices per se to go with this beer that it said it was with, which is just says spices. So I would assume it doesn't say what spices they are. I would assume it's something like cinnamon and nutmeg, maybe. But overall, I mean, this really just tastes like a kind of wild fermented sour, a little bit of oak agedness. Not really pumpkin, but again, what is a pumpkin ale? We've kind of figured out there's what is like the original one, and everything else is in between. I like this beer, but it's because I like this style. If I was to classify as a pumpkin beer, I would say kind of no. But if I was to say this beer, yeah, I'd really drink this again. This is great. I mean, I love wild ales because I love that kind of tart, acidic, you know, notes that you get, and then the Brett flavor profile as well. This is good. I mean, I would definitely recommend this if you can find it. So we'll continue looking into other pumpkin ales and see how they are. All right, so our quest continues to figure out what exactly a pumpkin beer is. So today we have, or in this section, we have Hey Pumpkin from Denver Beer Co. It's an ale brewed with pumpkin and spices added. It is 5.4%. It says brewed for sweater weather. Enjoy this harvest ale, Denver Beer Company. All right, so right off the bat, it's a lot hazier than some of the other ones, not as clear. It's got that kind of like golden orangish amber color, which is pretty good for the style. Typically, that's like what we're going for. So let's give it an aroma. Like sweetness, cinnamon, very mild though, almost like apple pie sweetness. It's pretty good head retention when I poured it, so let's give it a try. Ooh, that's pretty good. It's got a nice like kind of cinnamony sweetness. Is that how you say that? Nice little bitterness at the end, almost like hop bitterness. It's pretty light also. It's got kind of like a caramely amber kind of flavor, like an amber ale type thing going on with it. Overall, I think I'd probably give this one like maybe 2.5 to 3. It's not strong. It's not bad. It's like kind of just middle of the road. I think Shipyard had a lot more going on with it, but this one is pretty decent. That's where I kind of say it. So continue the quest. All right, so now we have one of my favorite breweries, their attempt at a pumpkin beer. This is a pumpkin pie cheesecake Berliner sour ale. It was brewed with pumpkin, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, graham crackers, pie crust, milk sugar, and cream cheese. So right off the bat, it's got the right I almost say like the pumpkin color that you would want. Like it's almost the same color as this. That's pretty cool. This style is pretty low head retention. Right off the bat, you get that like acidic sweetness from like being a Berliner Weiss. Get a little bit of that graham cracker. So this style in general, I've had a bunch of these like cheesecake Berliner from them. They're really, really light. They had that nice like Berliner acidic type of thing that goes on with it being like a kettled sour. I get like a touch of that graham cracker at the end. Yeah, I get like graham cracker. That's a very strong flavor. None of really the spices or the cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice. I don't really get any of that. I don't know what pie crust is supposed to taste like. That's just kind of sugar and fat. Cream cheese and milk sugar, that would add some sweetness to it and maybe some body, but I don't really get a whole lot of sweetness with this. I get a little bit of cinnamon on the nose. There is a little bit of subtle spice that's going on with it, but not punch you in the face. Overall, I think this is like a nice Berliner Weiss with like notes of graham crackers. It's a little disappointing because I do really like this brewery and they typically do some really good stuff. It's just, I don't know if this specific style does well for our Berliner Weiss, but the quest continues. I'd probably give this, if I was rating it, a little bit higher than the other ones because I like the actual base beer itself, which I think is important for this pumpkin beer. So I give like a 3.5, somewhere in there. Still think Shipyard so far has been the best pumpkin beer that we've tried. Just has like that nice carameliness, it had the nice spiciness. This is kind of just missing that. But this is overall a good base beer, but needs a little bit more to kick it up a notch. So we'll keep looking. All right, so we continue to look at other pumpkin beers and what that can be. So in this case, we have something a little bit different than we've tried. So this is Imperial Pumpkin Porter. It's a porter brewed with pumpkin and spices from Epic Brewing. So this is part of their Exponential series. It says, you're holding something very special. One of only a few thousand bottle release. It's a 7.6% alcohol. So when I pour this at a nice head, if you look at the color, it's a very, very dark chocolate to black coloring. It's got like, it's like a sour, boozy sweetness on the nose. Like, it's got like a nice like bitterness to it, like the porter, like a little bit of the chocolatey parts. It's pretty smooth at the end. Although I don't taste any of the spices with it. I mean, there's a little bit of that like kind of roastiness at the end, kind of tanniny. Yeah, I kind of get like that. What you smell on the nose doesn't come through on the taste, where it's like kind of that boozy, acidic sweetness. Yeah, it's kind of got that nice like porter characteristic of it. A little bit of bitterness, a little bit of that dry tanniny stuff, but overall no pumpkin or like cinnamon or nutmeg or ginger or any of those kind of spices. It kind of just missing those notes. So I would say like give this like a 2.5, 3, somewhere in the middle of the road, where it's a good beer, but it's not a great pumpkin beer. That's how I would kind of define this as. So again, we'll just continue to explore some other ones that are more different. So not just like the generic like shipyard looking ones. So we'll get some other ones as we move forward. So let's go to the next one. All right, so the next one we have to try on this quest to figure out what a pumpkin beer is this from Tommyknocker Small Patch Pumpkin Harvest Ale with the spiced pumpkin ale. Just has stuff about the brewery on the back. 5% ABV, 15 IBUs. So I don't think I've ever had anything from Tommyknockers before. So right off the bat, the major difference is just like the color. It's like a dark chocolate amber color. Yeah, definitely darker. Somewhere almost to the line of like a porter, but not really. Not there yet, but like that dark caramelization coming from the malt probably. Don't really get anything on the nose. Like no spiciness, no sweetness, no caramel, no honey, nothing like that. It's kind of like a little bitter almost. I don't taste any spice in it. It's kind of light, honestly, for the color. It's kind of got that like roasty malt flavor, and that's kind of all it's got going on. Not like nutty, just kind of like roasted barley going on, like chocolate malt kind of flavor. Yeah, it's kind of it. I mean, it's kind of flat in terms of flavor. Nothing really special about this beer. Probably give this like, if I was to say rate it again, probably a 1. I mean, I think the base beer is meh, and I think the actual pumpkin flavor is non-existent. There's no spice character. I would not call this a spiced pumpkin ale, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just kind of plain. It says so. Continue the hunt, but this one's not very good either. All right, so we got our last pumpkin beer that I could find, unless I can find some more, but it's getting pretty close to the end of pumpkin beer season. So we have a pumpkin lager from Lakefront Brewery. This is the first like pumpkin beer I've seen that's a lager. It says a lager brewed with real lager brewed with real pumpkin spices that contain cinnamon, allspice, ginger, nutmeg, cloves, and mace. I would say right off the bat, you can definitely tell based on the clarity that it's like that nice light straw to golden color for a lager. That super lagery color. Super lagery color. Let's give it a... Ooh, got some good spice on that. Very cinnamony on the aroma. Nice ginger too. This is also 6.1% alcohol. Oh, that's lovely. I think this is the best one I've had so far, honestly. It's super light and clean, but it's got a nice mouthfeel. It's got the lovely spices. Like, I think there's a little bit of that nutmeg and allspice at the back end. Nice subtle spices in the beginning. It's very well balanced. I mean, the lager kind of helps keep it very clean on the palate. So, and like the malt is very clean. The spices are great on this. I mean, I think this is better than the shipyard one that I tried. I think this is by far the best pumpkin beer. I give this a 5 out of 10 or 5 out of 5. Now I'll give it a 6 out of 5. I think because it's better than that. Exceeds my expectations kind of deal. I mean, yeah, it's got this lovely spices on the nose that you kind of get when you taste it. Yeah, and it's got that real good cinnamon flavor at the beginning. Definitely get that clove and that allspice at the tail end. So I think this is the best pumpkin beer that I could find out there. And this is kind of just one I was like, oh, I'll try a pumpkin lager because I never had that before. But I think they nailed it. I think this is definitely worth trying if you're looking for it. Obviously other styles would play differently with pumpkin, but this, for being super clean and the spices are really pronounced, this is it. This is the pumpkin beer. So I think what's key with all this stuff is that for pumpkin beer, the base beer is really important. So whatever's going to support the beer has to be there. Then the spices notes have to really come through both on the aroma and on the flavor in the background. If you don't have either of those, then it's just not going to be there. So I think out of all the beers we tried, the two best pumpkin beers were Shipyard and this one. I think my favorite, just if you take all that out of there, I did like the Jolly Pumpkin or Jolly Roger Pumpkin beer because of the oak aged kind of funkiness wild ale. I like that, but it had nothing to do with it being a pumpkin beer. So yeah, this is it. This is definitely the best one. It's clean, it's crisp, it's got great, lovely spice to it. So let me know what you found, what you think is a better pumpkin beer, and maybe I'll try them in the future if I can find them. Smash the like button if you found any of this helpful, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.